Marvel Comics has also decided to give the Fantastic Four a brand new #1 as an easy starting place for brand new Fantastic Four readers to jump on. So we're going to ramp up our Fantastic Four coverage with a breakdown of the first issue of the series and see where this brand new Fantastic Four #1 starts. I will say Marvel isn't rebooting the team or anything like that. The new story still takes place in the current 616 Marvel continuity, with Doctor Doom still holding the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme and all. But it's a brand new story, so let's find out where it takes us. The story starts with the Thing, Mr. Fantastic, and the Human Torch fighting Doombots. As the narration says, Ben Grimm, incredibly big-hearted, impossibly strong, calls himself the Thing. Reed Richards, as stretchy as he is smart, and he's the smartest man on the planet. My spectacular husband, Mr. Fantastic. Johnny Storm, my brother, a living inferno, the Human Torch. He insists that he's single and largely ready to mingle. And as we turn the page, we get a double-page spread of the Fantastic Four fighting the Sorcerer Supreme Doom and his Doombots. We also see Invisible Woman in a mech she made out of light or energy. To be honest, it looks like she has her own Susanoo. Her captions continue to say, "And that's me, Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. I bend light and energy and I make force fields with my mind. I lead the team. We are the Fantastic Four." So that's something that I know is going to be controversial, as Sue is saying she is the leader of the Fantastic Four, when traditionally speaking, we all know it's Mr. Fantastic. Now you may be asking, why is Marvel Comics doing this? Well, the simple answer is because in the MCU, Sue has also been confirmed to be the leader of the Fantastic Four, and oftentimes when a new MCU film comes out, the comics do things to match the MCU counterpart. But either way, let's move on. She continues to say, "I brought us here because Doctor Doom has taken over the planet, and today we're going to stop him. Today we're going to save the world." The Thing then says, "Surprised to see us, Doomy?" He replies by saying, "Only surprised that you are not yet dead, you thundering fools. You dare, after all I've accomplished, you truly dare risk a direct attack against Emperor Doom?" At this point, Invisible Woman attacks him, but he just blocks it, saying, "I thought I taught you all how futile that is. You especially, Grimm. And yet, here you are." Grimm replies, "Oh, is that what you were trying to teach us? Holy Hannah, Doomy, you're not a good teacher." Reed then agrees, saying, "We understood an entirely different message." With the Human Torch adding, "It starts with Doom, and it ends with, as Sue says, always loses, punching him with her force field, at which point rejoins with a punch as well." Now, after they knock Doom on his butt, he starts to get up off the ground with the Fantastic Four hovering over him. And while he's getting up, he says, "Since I've become Emperor, no one has laid a hand on me, Richards. None. But of course, you and your ridiculous family think nothing of it. The four of you defy me." The Fantastic Four then tell him, "Stay down, Victor," but he says no. He continues, "Emperor Doom has been ungenerous with you, too confident perhaps in your ability to correct yourselves. But if you insist on enabling each other's anti-Doom psychosis, then in his grace and in his mercy, Doom will end them for you." As we see him send each of them into a different period in time, which is honestly a very cool concept with a lot of potential. Alright, so jumping back to the issue on the next page, we're first taken to Johnny as we see him in a volcanic era saying "Flame on." But it's not working so much, as he has to scream "Flame on" twice before it actually flames on. As he tries to fly before hitting the ground, he says, "Hard to breathe, hard to flame on, and I feel strange. I know this feeling, it's hypoxia. Your boy Johnny is suffocating to death. First thing to do is figure out while I'm dying, while I still can think clearly. I tease Reed about building computers in our uniforms, but it does have its advantages." As he asks the computer in his uniform where he is, and it tells him Earth, 521 million years BCE, aka before the Common Era. Johnny says, okay, I think that's before life evolved on land, but I could work with that. His computer says no other fantastic signals detected. Johnny then asks, atmospheric analysis, and the computer tells him atmospheric oxygen in this era is 20% of normal. He's then like, well, no wonder I had trouble flaming on. That's worse than the peak of Everest. That's the death zone. The whole planet is a death zone. He then asks his computer, how do I make oxygen? And it spits out several different scientific ways, with him being like, I don't even know what those are. He then asks, how does someone make oxygen with fire, computer? Quickly. It says oxidized metals, if heated to sufficiently high temperatures, release oxygen. Johnny thinks for a second and says, rust. Hell yes, I can melt rust. As he flames on and tries to do just that. As he flies off, he says, melting stuff is child's play for the Human Torch. That's the good news. The bad news is, I discovered it's not enough. His computer says oxygen levels 31% of normal. But he says again, it's not enough. I'm not even getting out of the death zone. The oxygen isn't saving me. It's just slowing the inevitable. I'm going to get more and more confused, more and more disoriented. And then I'm going to die. I've got one chance. Everything depends on what Reed told us to look for if we ever never got lost and what our uniforms have built-in trackers for. And so, flying as fast as he can, dying as slowly as he can, he heads for the Forever Stone. He eventually gets there, but when he does, he says, "Can't remember why I'm here. Oh, the stone, right. There, I'm safe. Just need to add the date and I'm safe," as he carves the date into the Forever Stone. Now, if you're wondering what the Forever Stone is, don't worry, that'll be explained later on in the issue. From here, we're taken to the Thing who's been sent back to the time of dinosaurs, where a gigantic T-Rex starts attacking him, at which point he has to hold its mouth open saying, "I know if you're sent back in time, you're definitely not supposed to step on any butterflies." But where does punching out a dino land on that list? Another dinosaur then comes in and bites his leg as the two dinos start playing tug of war with him. He then says, "Leave me alone, you stupid beast. I ain't got no quarrel with you." One of the dinosaurs then bites his arm so hard it actually pierces his rock skin. This makes him mad, saying, "I ain't stepping on butterflies, but I ain't gonna be anyone's dinner either." That's right, this snack fights back as he headbutts one of the dinosaurs and kicks the other, sending them running. As the Thing says, "Yeah, dinosaur times, no kidding." The computer then says, "No other Fantastic Four signals detected," as the Thing responds, "Well, I ain't out yet. Not as long as I got a pair of smart shorts to point me in the right direction," as he also makes his way to the Forever Stone, and as he sees Johnny's inscription on there, he says, "Looks like Flame Brain made it here too. Good on you, kid." Thing then carves in his date into the Forever Stone, saying, "Just a wee bit of carving and old Ben Grimm is home free." From here, we're brought to Reed, who's been sent to medieval times, as he's formed himself into a glider to glide above the battle that's going down below. As he says, "Begin audio log. Given Victor's mind, I have to assume the others have been sent to different eras in Earth's history. But if he thinks separating us is enough to destroy us, he has another thing coming. The Forever Stone, a massive dense granite that happens to be one of the longest lasting rocks on the planet. And more usefully for our purposes, through a combination of obscurity and raw geological luck, it stayed both intact and accessible," which explains what the Forever Stone is and why all the members of the Fantastic Four are meeting at it. It's a place that's constant throughout all periods of time, meaning if they all go there and wait, eventually someone could bring them back. And Reed breaks down exactly how in a moment. But as Reed is saying this, he gets hit by a boulder launched by the medieval war, as he says, "Instinctively softening my body on impact. I allow it to form around this projectile. There may be good fortune in this. The impact is carrying me into the darkness of the forest and out of history's way." Once he lands, he stretches up above the tree saying, "Now then, to the Forever Stone," and to hope against hope that others make it there too. As he makes his way to the beach shore, he says, "The stone is 3 months travel away. I move as efficiently as I can, able to move more quickly at night, or when I'm out of sight of other humans of this time period." He continues to say, "I acquired appropriate clothing from a midden, passing myself off as a beggar. It carries lice, of course, but as the parasites cannot bite my flexible skin, they soon leave for greener pastures." He continues to travel and ultimately finds the Forever Stone, where he sees Johnny and Ben's inscription on it. As he says, "It's a failsafe, the best one possible when dealing with time travel. I've tracked the stone's location throughout history, which provided spatial data. The inscription provides temporal, with both space-time temporal coordinates become known entities, meaning the right person in the right place can help us find our way home." See, I told you Reed was going to explain it. Reed then writes his inscription on the stone while saying Johnny is in the Cambrian era, before animals or even plants began colonizing land. He must have found the abundant oxygen sinks of that era. Ben is in the late Cretaceous, surviving against the carnivorous animals. There's nothing from Sue, which leads me to conclude she's further ahead in time than any of us, which means it's now up to her to rescue us. We're then finally taken to Sue, who lands in a desert with a red sun, saying, "Normally, when I use my powers, it's just across a partial spectrum. I bend visible light around me and presto, the invisible woman. I don't usually shield myself from the full spectrum because heat is energy too. If I shield myself from all radiation and convection and conduction too, I could freeze to death in the middle of the sun. But I do it now. I keep all but the smallest percentage of heat away from me. It's the only way to avoid being cooked alive." As we see, she's landed on Earth 7 billion plus CE. Essentially, she's landed in the future where she realizes the sun is dying and it boiled off Earth's oceans long ago. She's in a place in the future where it's the end of everything. Earth is dead, and she's the last life on it. She then says, "My only chance is to find the Forever Stone." But her computer says, "No stone signal detected." She's like, "No, it has to be here," as she tells herself, "We never looked this far ahead for the Forever Stone. We never thought we'd have to. There's nothing here. But if there's no Forever Stone here, then there's no way back. And if there's no way back, then my brother is dead, my best friend is dead, my husband is dead, and I very soon will be joining them." And with that, the issue ends. I gotta say, this is a fun, easy jumping on point for the Fantastic Four. If you've been looking to get into them, this is the way to do it. It starts off with Dr. Doom being annoyed that the Fantastic Four are still able to knock him on his butt, even though he's Emperor Doom, at which point he sends all 4 of them back to different different points in time, and now we're seeing them deal with that. Very curious to see how they make their way back to the present to ultimately fight Doctor Doom once again. And I can't wait till they all find each other, because I really like the Fantastic Four book to see the Fantastic Four together. The team dynamic is why you read the Fantastic Four series.